Hello, I'm Org, and in this video I'm going to review the UE-57, a frustrating little French tank destroyer. Only a single UE-57 was produced. However, the Renault UE, which it was based on, was one of the most produced armoured vehicles for its time. Just over 5,100 of these were produced before France surrendered in the Second World War. The UE was an armoured artillery tractor, mostly used for supplying ammunition to frontline positions. However, when Germany invaded in 1940, the French decided they needed as many armoured combat vehicles as possible. A 25mm gun was mounted on the UE chassis with some success, although none of these modified tractors were produced due to the rapid German advance. However, in 1943, the Free French forces were in serious need of a tank destroyer, and the same idea occurred to them. The French tried mounting a British 6-pounder on the UE chassis. However, the gun was much too big for the chassis, such that the crew had to stand behind the vehicle to operate the gun. At the same time, though, the gun was much too small. The 6-pounder was already struggling against German armour by 1943, and was being replaced in British service with the 17-pounder anti-tank gun. Given the performance reduction from carrying the extra weight, the Free French decided not to pursue this design. In World of Tanks though, the UE-57 definitely has a place in the game. Thankfully, it is down in the low tiers where the 6-pounder gun can be effective. At tier 3, the 6-pounder is actually a very fine weapon. It gives you 110mm of penetration, which will deal comfortably with everything you encounter except for the occasional heavy tank. The 75 damage per shot of this gun is also sufficient, although it requires a high rate of fire of this gun to compete with the other tier 3 tank destroyers in DPM. However, the gun is also the biggest frustration on the UE-57. This is mainly because this tank has next to no gun depression, only 2 degrees. This means that even tiny bumps in the terrain can prevent you from getting shots on your enemy. The gun is also not particularly accurate. 0.39 spread at 100 meters is not terrible for tier 3, but it is a bit frustrating when you are having to play as a DPM sniper. The gun also has a narrow firing arc, which means you will have to traverse your hull often, ruining your camouflage and having to begin your aiming cycle again. For protection, the UE-57 relies on its camo rather than its armour. With only 6mm of frontal armour, you won't get any shells bouncing off you. Fortunately, the UE-57 is one of the smallest and stealthiest tanks in the game. Once you have a camo net set up and get into some bushes, you should be able to gun down your opponents without them even spotting you. This is of course only if your enemies remain at range from you. The mobility of a tank destroyer doesn't often strike me as being that important. The UE-57 isn't fast, but it has sufficient speed to get into position. Likewise, its traverse speed is sufficient to deal with enemies at range. However, they will be able to get behind you if they can get close enough. I played 231 games in UE-57, and I actually did pretty poorly in it for a tank destroyer. TDs are usually what I'm best at. However, in the UE-57, I only managed a 55% win rate. I destroyed 1.2 enemies per game, and my stats above the board were generally only slightly above average. In the end, the poor gun depression and accuracy was enough to disrupt my attempts to use this tank as a sniper. I found that the key to using this tank is to find locations where the enemy will be spotted at long to medium range from you, while you remain hidden and can bring your gun to bear. Simply put, I struggled at close range and with fast moving targets thanks to the poor gun traverse, and often struggled to find good locations thanks to the poor gun depression. However, when you find a spot where you can remain hidden and unload on your enemies, this tank can be awesome. And you can see one of these situations right here. Essentially, I'm sitting in a bush above the cap on the encounter on El Halouf, and a whole bunch of French tanks are charging at me. None of them have spotted me so far because I'm about 300 meters away from them, and I'm able to just keep firing away. Only about, most of my shots are penetrating, but quite a few are bouncing, especially when I shoot at the BDR over there. But that's a tier 5 heavy tank, you've got to kind of expect that. And you see I can still shoot straight through its frontal armour there. And that's the second one destroyed, or second one killed by me, third one killed overall, and the last enemy tank is the VK3001H, which isn't a particularly heavily armoured tank, or particularly armoured heavy tank. As it's giving me its side, I can just punch straight through that. And I managed to track it in the open. Bit unlucky there with the bounce, but as I said, the accuracy is good but not great on this gun. I'm going to keep putting shots in. Artillery's also tracked it. And that is it for the enemy's push into our cap, or into the cap. And as you can see, that's also basically it for the enemy team. So we're going to end that replay there. And I just want to show you this last game, which is on mines, and it's a tier 3 game, which means that, well, this is about the best you can ever get for the UE-57. And I went to this spot, and I don't actually go here often, but I pull back so that, well, because I can't see through those bushes, it means that I'm more than 15 meters away from them, which means that even when I fire, it won't help the enemies spot me through the bushes. That barely made sense. Basically, it just ups my camo by a lot, having bushes that are more than 15 meters away from you. The downside is I can't actually observe the terrain, so I'm not really sure which of these enemies I can actually shoot at. You saw me earlier trying to hit the Valentine AT, but that's actually way down the bottom of the hill. And unfortunately it seems like this position isn't actually that great for getting shots near me. But I can get a shot on that cruiser there, put one in, it's M2 light, another shot, and it doesn't move. So I get a kill there. And that's a T127 poked out, and it's dead as well. Panzer 1, the team killed it before I could. Don't have any shots there. I'll take one anyway. Oh, no, have a quick shot. Kill number 3, another Panzer 1. Take a shot at the BT2, but I miss, and my team manages to kill it. And, well, if I rotate a little bit with my pretty alright reverse, you can see an LTP there. Oh, and that shot went a bit wide. And bounce. And that one looked like it missed. So far I've still, well, I might have hit the LTP, but probably not. Okay, it looks like the T46 is going to push around though. Maybe, hopefully. Got one shot in. And the second shot gets the kill, and now medium 2 comes out. Oh, I miss. Unfortunate. I think I tracked there and did damage, and my team finished it off. The LTP is still out there somewhere. But it looks like it's time for me to actually move. So far I've managed to kill 4 enemy tanks, and I hadn't even left that position, which at first I didn't think looked particularly strong. But obviously it can work in certain situations. Now see, that was also kind of the situation that I was talking about when I was in a really good spot behind the bush. The enemy never spotted me, and I was able to kill 4 of them and do a fair bit of damage to a few other tanks. Only problem is, well, in positions like this you require your team to be in front of you to spot targets for you. But if they are, they're actually really strong to get behind bushes like I did there. We've reached the top of the hill where there are a bunch of enemy tanks that I killed earlier. And again, I'm hoping for my team to move forward and spot some targets for me. And they spotted the priest, and I can't get shots on it. It's probably because there's a wreck right in front of me, so I go around it and around the rock. But it still doesn't look like I have any shots on the priest. Oh, there we go. But I miss. Second shot goes on, and it's on very low health. I fire again, but it bounces. But I switch to the Stuart beside it, hoping to get a shot off there, but it's not to be. Pull up into this bush, and we see an Su-26 right in front of us. And that's as low as I can aim, thanks to the poor gun depression. So I was only just able to hit the very top of that tank. See a T-46, and we can put a few shots into that one. And that is kill number 6 for our Top Gun. Oh, I have a tiny shot at the Stuart there, but it moves. So I think the LTP's my next target, and I almost failed to knock down that tree, which does actually happen a few times in the UE-57 since it's a very light tank. Anyway, here's the LTP. I'm trying to use this rock for cover. I put one shot into the LTP and I managed to track it, and my second shot kills it. And now this Stuart's the last enemy tank left, and it's well behind that rock. But my team are going up there, and to its credit, that Stuart puts up a really good fight. I have a tiny shot on its rear, which I take, and that sounds like it bounced. And look at this, the Stuart's almost managed to kill that friendly tank there, rams it, but just fails, and that's the Stuart's death. And that's all I've got to say about the UE-57. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.